How are you doing? We're gonna be now working on chapter 1. I know that there's more chapter 0 to do, and don't worry, we're gonna do it, but it's kind of out of order, I think. And so we're gonna do 1.1 is what we're gonna do in this video. So let's get to it. Okay, so I need to move some stuff out of the way. And so 1.1 is on simplifying expressions. In your book, they tell you about similar terms. And they say they have the same variable part. You can add or subtract similar terms by adding or subtracting their number coefficient and then attaching the like variable part to the result. And some people use the word like terms. And so it's pretty hard for me not to say like terms. That's what I've always called them. And so I'll say combine like terms, or they're not like terms. So here they're asking us to add, subtract 3a, take away a. And so there is a number coefficient there of a. It's not written, it's 1. It's 3a, take away 1a is what it is. So that's the first thing that you want to think. And then what you're thinking is you're saying to yourself, 3 take away 1a is what you're thinking. And so all of this is in your thoughts. You don't have to write this. And so that's 2a, and that's our answer. And then we're done, and we can go on to the next one. This one here, in order to simplify the expression as they're asking, I noticed that, well, I cannot subtract 3x from 2 because they're not similar terms or like terms. And so because this is not 2x, if this had been 2x, then I would have been able to. But this is an x term, and this term doesn't have a variable part, so you cannot subtract them. But I can use the distributive property that we learned in chapter 0. So I could multiply here, and this is my thought, 4 times 3x, subtract, and then negative 4 times 2, right? And I can put parentheses around the negative 4 if you like. Probably I should. And then subtract 6. And then that's my thought. Most people won't write that. Most people will say, well, I can do negative 4 times 3, that's negative 12. So negative 12x. And most people will say, well, subtract of a negative. Do you guys remember what subtract of a negative is? We've been seeing it over and over. Of a negative is the same as, do you guys remember, is the same as an add. And so subtract of a negative is an add. Incorrectly, people will tell me this is a negative times a negative is a positive, but it sort of works out, doesn't it? But subtract of a negative is an add. And then 4, I've handled this negative now. 4 times 2 is 8, and then minus 6. And mostly people just think this. So what they write is they say negative 4 times 3 is negative 12x. Negative 4, and I've even heard people say negative 4 times negative 2 is positive 8, and then minus 6. And actually, this right here isn't really a negative, it's really a subtraction. And so I have people in my life that will hey, call you on that and say, hey, you said that wrong. But you can rewrite this subtraction as an addition. And if you did, this would be negative 4 times 3x, and instead of a subtract, you would have add of a negative 2, right? And then how this would look, negative 4 times 3x is negative 12x. You bring down the add. Negative 4 times negative 2 is positive 8. Do you see how the person that said here, negative 4 times negative 2, was just skipping this step? And is it okay to skip that step? And the answer is yeah, as long as you know that negative 4 times this right here is positive 8, you're good. And so that's the story. And now I want to combine like terms. This is not like terms with this. So this is 2. So this is negative 12x plus 2. and then we're done. So this is also something that some people think, and they even say it to themselves incorrectly. And I can't care about that kind of stuff. I mean, to me, it's something that we all do, and so I'm good with it. This is problem 44, and it says here that we're going to be distributing this negative. So this is going to be negative 3x times negative 3 times 3x, which is going to be 3 times 3 is 9. So negative 9x. And then I'm going to do that situation where I think of this as add of a negative. So this is going to be add, and it's a negative times a negative is a positive 6. So that's how I would like to do it there. And then this situation here really, my son just came and shut the door. I tell them I'm in studio is what I tell them, as like I'm a famous record producer or something like that. It's a good time to tell you, hey, subscribe to the channel because I'm trying to get 100 subscriptions, and when I do, there's a prize for me. And so I think I was at 27. So depending on when you watch this, how many I'll have. So there really is a secret 1 hanging out here, and there it is. And so that when you distribute this negative 1, you're going to get, and so you might be saying, hey, that's subtract 1. But remember the story? I could write this as add of a negative, and then it would really be a negative 1. And so lazily, I think of this as negative 1 instead of rewriting it. So this is negative 2x. This is a negative times a positive is a negative 3, right? And really I'm writing subtract 3 there. And really I wrote subtract 2x there. Because if I had written it as add of a negative 2x, then that's secretly just 2x, right? And so what I kind of said I had was add of a negative 2x, which is the same as subtract 2x. And so you get where some people say you have to keep your negative and your subtract really clear in your mind. And I'm not so sure that you can't just sort of go with it a little bit. So this is really negative 2x, and this is really subtract 2x. But remember, I could write that as add of negative 2x. And so if I did, this is what it would look like if I wrote them all as add, instead of thinking about them all as add. See how when I say that's a negative 2x, right here when I said it was a negative 2x, well really it was a subtract 2x, but if I rewrote it, it was a negative 2x. So it's not that big of a deal. So if I add these together, these are like terms, they're both negative, so you really truly do add them. Negative 9 and negative 2 is negative 11. X, and then this is a positive 6, and this is a negative 3. So you really subtract them. 6 take away 3 is 3. 6 is bigger, so it's positive 3. I have 6. They take out 3. Now I still have 3. These cannot be added together because they're not similar terms, not like terms. They're not both X. They're not both just numbers. So there we have that. 2 more problems on 1.1. No, I'm wrong. Sorry. More problems than 2 on 1.1. So this is 58, problem 58. And they're telling me that X has a value of negative 3 and Y has a value of 5. Now, X, the way it's written here, could have any value and Y could have any value. But they're saying, no, I don't want it to have any value. I want it to have the value negative 3. And if you use parentheses when you substitute, you won't get it wrong. If you don't use parentheses, then you will likely get it wrong. And so you decide, do you want to get it right? Well, use parentheses. And if you want to get it wrong, then don't use parentheses. It's as simple as that. So people will ask me, can I not use parentheses? Would that be okay with you? And the answer is no, you'll get it wrong. And I don't want you to get it wrong. I want you to have it correct. And so I'm going to plug in here where I had X, negative 3, and where I had X, negative 3. These were Y's, right? And 5 for Y. And so this is negative 3 squared. In my thoughts, that's negative 3 times negative 3, which is 9. plus, and then it's okay for me to come over here and do that other exponent, 5 squared, right? 5 times 5, which is 25. And do you see how this guy, it doesn't matter that I did him third, right? I could have done him second, and that would have been okay as well. And I'm going to multiply those two numbers together. There's three numbers, sorry. 2 times negative 3, that's negative 6. And so then I'm thinking in my head, negative 6 times 5, right? And so I'm multiplying those together. That's negative 30. And I like parentheses around my negative number there. And so my choice on how I do this, do I add the 9 and the 25 together because they're both positive and get, if you add 9 and 25, you get 24. That would be a way of going, 24 plus negative 30. And then this is positive and this is negative. So like I had $24 and then I got a debt. I'm going to add this debt of $30. And so now I'm going to have a debt of 6, right? So minus 6 is a way of going on it. You could have gotten the same answer had you gone left to right. So if you had done this, you would get 9 plus negative 30 is negative 21. And then did I make a mistake there? 9 plus 25, because I'm not getting the same answer. Do you guys see the mistake I made? Sometimes when you do things a different way, you can find your mistakes. I said this was 24. And you might be saying, why did you say that was 24? And I say, I don't know. It was 34, right? I added 9 and 25, and somehow I got 24. I think I might have been thinking about the fact that I've made some cookie dough, and I've put some cookies in the oven, and I was probably thinking about how good those are going to be when they come out, maybe. So this is positive 4, right? 34 minus 30. 34 plus a negative 30 is positive 4. Now I could do it this way here, and it will work out. This is negative 21 when I put those together, and then negative 21 plus 25 is positive 4. So I'm kind of glad that I was checking that and showing that you would get the same answer had you did it a different way, because I might have not found my error there because I was so excited about the cookies, right? So this is find the value of 12x minus 3 for the following values of x. So they're telling us that x is 5 over 6. So we're going to replace in here 12 and then parentheses minus 3. And what are we going to put in for x? So whenever you have x and you replace, parentheses are implied, whether you want to write them or not. So if you don't want to write them, they're still implied. And sometimes people tell me I get the right answer if I don't write the parentheses. And I can see that you might get the right answer maybe half the time, maybe even 75% of the time. But you'll get the wrong answer the other times, and you definitely don't want to get the wrong answer ever. So you want to make sure that you're, oh, that's on my paper. That's a eraser mark. And I was looking at it, and I tried to erase it off my screen. I don't know why I did that. So this is 12 over 1 times 5 over 6. And 6 goes into 12 twice. So this really becomes 10 over 1. So this is 10 minus 3, which is 7. And you're certainly okay to put it in your calculator, and this one too. You can put in your calculator if you wanted to. I'm going to put this one in my calculator because why not? I guess is the reason. So I'm going to hit that square button. Plus 2 parentheses negative 3 parentheses 5 plus. So I put it in just like I see it using the parentheses keys, and I get 4. And so checking things with your calculator is a good idea. And here I'm going to put in 12. I'm going to put the parenthesis, and then I want a fraction, so I'm going to use my fraction button, 5 over 6. And you notice I was down here. Sorry, I I was down there, and if I hit the parenthesis key down there, that's not what I want. And so I can delete that, and you need to go out to the side, and then you can hit the parenthesis key -3, and we're hoping that's going to be 7, and we did get 7 there, so that's good. Okay, so we have another page to do on 1-1. So here they're asking me to simplify. Oops. And so I'm going to do that. And so the first thing is to distribute here. So this is 6 times 1/3 x. And physically, I can do 1/3, 6 times 1/3. And imagine, right? So this is going to be in my thoughts, 6/1 times 1/3. You would write it as a fraction. And 3 goes into 6 twice. So that's going to be 2/1. So this is just 2. So 2x. And then you would do distributing here, plus 6 times 1/2 y. And I'm going to do this arithmetic right there, 6 times half. Do you guys agree with me that that's 3? And you can do it like this if you need to. And then I'm going to keep distributing here. So this is going to be -4 times x. And I know this is really, if you're saying, hey, Donna, that's not a minus, that's a subtract. Well, I could rewrite it as an add of a -4. And then it is, friends, it is a negative if I wanted to rewrite it. I'm usually a little bit too lazy for that. So here I'm going to be multiplying here a negative, right? Remember when I rewrote it as a negative, times a positive, and I'm going to get a negative. And this is going to be 4 times 3/4 y. It's 4/1, right? So this, nothing I can do about it. -4x. But this, the 4's reduce. Well, that's like hot diggity dog. That's so nice of them, right? So this is really -3y. Because 4 divided by 4 is 1. And 1 times 3 is 3, right? So this is -3y. And then now I'm going to still combine like terms because they've asked me to simplify, right? People don't actually have to tell you to simplify. You should always simplify. And so they're kind of like saying, hey, simplify. But they didn't have to tell me. They could have just said, do what you want with this, which would be simplify, right? So 2x minus 4x is -2x. So I'm doing these together, right? This is positive. This is negative, so I subtract them. I get 2, it's bigger, -2x. And then these are just 0. Positive 3y and negative 3y are 0, right? And so this is all we have is -2x as our answer. And then here, many of you might notice that, hey, I've seen that before when I was taking algebra class. I don't remember what that thing is called, b squared minus 4ac, but I remember it was something. And so if you're having that remembrance, I'll remind you that it's called the discriminant. That's a pretty big 12-letter word there. And it comes in the quadratic formula. And we're actually going to see that in chapter 10. No, it's not chapter 10, excuse me. Chapter, oh goodness, I don't remember. Many chapters ahead. But you don't have to know that in order to use it. You don't have to know that it's something that you're going to see later. And so b squared minus 4ac. So if you're like, I didn't notice it was anything, well, great. So I'm going to put parentheses, so b squared there. You notice that where I have b, I put parentheses. Anything outside of the b goes outside of the parentheses. Where I have a, I put parentheses. You notice where the 4 is, and you notice where I have c, I put parentheses. So for the variable, I put in parentheses. Then I go and I replace into those parentheses what the number is. So b is -4, so inside this parenthesis, I put -4. A is 3, so in this parenthesis, I put 3. And c is -2, so in that parenthesis, I put -2. And then order of operations would apply. Grouping symbol, there aren't any, because there's nothing to do inside here. That's just a number. There's nothing to do inside there. It's just a number, and here as well. So exponents come next. And the exponents would tell me to think about negative 4 times negative 4, which is positive 16. And then I'm going to multiply. I can write this all if you like, and then say, oh, now what do I do next in the order of operations? Well, multiply, right? And so, or I can say, oh, I'm already set up for that, and I could have just multiplied and put the answer there. You notice what I'm going to have. This is a subtract, but I could rewrite it as an add of a negative if you liked. And I'm going to have a negative and a negative, which is going to make a positive. 4 is, right now, because it's a subtract, is really positive. But if I rewrote it as an add, then a negative, then 4 would be a negative. So however you like to think of it, some people think, well, I would have this be a subtract of a negative. And then, well, what is a subtract of a negative? It's an add, right? And other people tell me I would have this as a negative times a negative, and I know that what you're doing is you're rewriting this as add of negative 4, right? No one really writes this like this, right? They think it. And then 16 plus, and then you multiply these together. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. Negative 12 times negative 2 is positive 24. So however you do that, it doesn't matter to me. Do you rewrite it in your mind, or do you rewrite it physically? Some people would say, Donna, don't rewrite that and not put parentheses around that. Okay, put parentheses around it. Either way, it's all good. And then now all I have to do is add 16 and 24, and I was about to tell you that was 30, but you guys can tell me that it's really 40, right? And so I better maybe I'll even use my calculator and make sure that it's 40 because I'm feeling unconfident. Yes, I think I'm getting 40. Okay. I know that I don't give a ton of examples. And the reason I don't is because there's only so much time. And so there are more examples that are on video that go with your textbook. And I will be showing you how to get to those in your class. And in fact, there are 10 in this section. And all the sections that we've done before have had many, many examples. And so I think they would all really be helpful. And so you can go and look at those videos. I'll be showing you how to do that. Okay, talk to you guys later, and see you in class.